And welcome. Thank you for being here. And if somebody could just give me a quick Yahoo, meaning we can hear you, that'd be great. And again, welcome. Wise Pony, first in. Congrats. And welcome. Now, Nemo, all you need to do is just open up either kahoot.it or log into the app if you have the app running and put in the PIN code that is up at the top, and you can join the game that way. Glad that you're here. Welcome. All right, Blendinator. Thank you for all your service on the channel, Dan, and also on Discord. You're amazing. And thank you for the super sticker. Wishing everybody good luck in this quiz regarding DHCP. Vias is in the house. Hello. Nicholas is here. Says he passed his CCNA 200-301 exam last week. Way to go, Nicholas. Onward and upward. I'm proud of you. Keep up the great work. And Nicholas, you're in Vegas also. That's awesome. Always great to have an idea where people are. We have people from all over the world in these quizzes and on Discord and on the YouTube channel. It's great to have everybody here. It's also especially interesting when there's somebody so close. So glad to have you here. All right, Eduardo, thank you very much. Brazil is in the house. Welcome. Belgium's here. In fact, well, we're going to kick off here in just a moment. Before we do, please chat in. Where are you watching this from? You can put in the state, country, hemisphere, continent. I don't care. It is interesting for me, though, to see whereabouts in the world you are. So if you have a moment before we begin, just go ahead and chat where you're watching or playing from, and then we'll start here in just a moment. Wow, that's great. Maryland, Connecticut, Russia, Netherlands, Buenos Aires, Liberia, Kenya, Arkansas, Ohio, New Jersey, Belgium, Wisconsin, Oklahoma, Denmark, China, United Emirates, Poland, Greece, Brazil. It's so great to have everybody. I'm excited about having everybody here today. I've discovered recently that over half of the people on these quizzes already have your CCNAs, which is great. They're just coming back to reinforce the skills and help other people and keep themselves sharp. And after 20 plus years of being I got my first CCA back in 2001. After 20 years of being a CCA, I am still learning all the time, including yesterday in the office hour. And if you haven't joined us for office hour before, please feel free to do so. It's every Saturday, 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time on Discord. It's absolutely free. And yesterday we talked about DHCP services, and I learned something new that I didn't realize. And that was that in the DHCP messages, in the offer, it has the IP address and the mask and the default gateway and such. And I thought that's all going to be replicated in the acknowledgement. But in the acknowledgement, it also includes, which it didn't in the offer, it includes information such as the renew period and the lease time in the acknowledgement, which wasn't in the offer. I honestly thought it was all identical. It's like, here's the offer, here's all the details. And then the client requests it. Then there's the acknowledgement that says, yep, got it. But the acknowledgement had the additional tidbits regarding lease renewal information. So it was fascinating. And if I can learn after 20 years, everybody can. And it's great. I enjoy the community. Special thanks to all the moderators and admins on Discord who are, volunteering their own time to help you and help me. And I'm grateful to be part of the community. All right. Enough of chit chat. We have close to 85 people in the room and close to 71 people in the game. Let's begin. Hearty good luck to everybody. And here we go. Question number 1 of 14. Double points, no pressure. This IP address is the default gateway. The DHCP server is not local. What is needed? Oh, wow. I'm just going to take a moment and enjoy this because this does not happen very often where it's just crushed. That is absolutely fabulous. Also, right after this online quiz here on YouTube with this live stream, I'll be hanging out on the Discord server for about 15 to 45 minutes, depending on how long we're there. And if you want elaboration or clarification on any of these questions, I'd be more than happy to elaborate as we chat there live right after this live stream. All right. Woo, mercy. Here's question number 2 of 14. What is the interface command to configure a DHCP relay? Another crusher. Fantastic, everybody. Also, if I didn't shout out where you're calling or taking the game from, welcome to everybody. There's just so many people here. Also, I want to congratulate Kydell Lee, who did their CCNA on the 26th, and happy to say they passed. Thankful for the sessions. So great, so great, so great. And another question is from Nanimo Nada, saying they're from Texas, Dallas specifically. And do I know Network Chuck? Yes, Chuck, Keith, and I worked together for a little over, I think, maybe 2 years at CBT Nuggets. Network Chuck has visited me in Vegas. We've gone to Cirque du Soleil shows together, he and his wife and I and my wife. And he's a great guy. Fantastic. If you're not following Network Chuck, he's great. So please do. If you're focusing on CCNA, also schedule every Saturday for the office hour and every Sunday for this live quiz to help refresh and rehearse those skills for the Cisco CCNA. That's my focus here on YouTube these days. All right, moving on. Here's question 3 of 14. Where should DHCP relay be configured in this topology? All right, there is not a correct answer on the board here. Let's talk about for a moment just why that is. If we do a show media, and let me grab a pen real quick. This will do fine right there. So if this is the DHCP client right here, and this is the DHCP server over here, and we have a few routers in between, and 3 to be specific, the DHCP relay needs to be configured on the same broadcast domain, the same VLAN as the DHCP client. So it needs to be enabled on R1 gig 0/2, which was none of the answers present. And then once it's enabled here, DHCP Discover messages are then unicast and sent over as unicast destination IP address to the server, who then responds unicast over here back to R1, who then replies back to the client. So from the client's perspective, it's just doing the DORA process. But behind the scenes, the DHCP relay, implemented by IP Helper, is actually forwarding those and receiving those answers back from the DHCP server. All right. So green, first tough question of the day. There's a few more hanging out there for us. Here's question number 4. Some devices in VLAN 10, they failed to get a DHCP assigned address. What could help? It's port fast. If you want to come by in Discord right after the live stream, I'd be happy to elaborate on that. Again, a fairly challenging one for most people on the call. That's okay. I've got a few more, and here's question number 5 of 14. A DHCP relay sends a Discover packet to a server. Which address appears in the payload? I want to make sure that's clear. Not at layer 2 or layer 3, but actually in the DHCP Discover payload itself. Boom, indeed, the client's MAC address is in that payload, and that's how the DHCP server, once it assigns the IP address from the correct scope or pool, is then going to track and make a mapping saying this guy's layer 2 address, the client, is associated with this IP address that I'm leasing out to that client. All right. For Flying Scotsman, the Discord server, I'll have a link. In fact, there's a link in the description for this in this live stream right now. And it's free. It's a Discord server, and you can either run the app or just use a browser. And my server is free. So you can just join us there in the CCNA voice room right after this quiz if you're so inclined. All right, here we go. Question 6 of 14. It's multiple select. Which of the following are true regarding dynamic host configuration protocol? All right, Loe is saying this is the easiest question so far. A question's easy if you know the answer. That's definitely true. Boom. I guess the group agrees. Nailed it. Clients issue a discover message. Servers have a pool. And hopefully those 4 packets go off without a hitch during the initial DHCP process. All right, let's take a look at the leaderboard. Rocky Jaguar on top, followed by Zany Badger, Elated Goose, Carrying Chicken, and Space Dragon. And up 12 places, Eager Elephant is the highest climber. Way to go, everybody. Continuing on, we're halfway there. PC, that's in the topology, it uses the DHCP server up on the top right. What is true regarding DHCP between R1, which is the router that's on the same network as the PC, and the DHCP server? All right, it is using UDP. DHCP traffic can be routed because a relay agent does exactly that. And we want to configure that DHCP relay on the same interface. It's in the same subnet, same VLAN as the DHCP client. So that'd be E3, not E4. All right, onward and upward. Here's question 8 of 14. Multiple select. What destination types are used in an IPv4 DHCP Discover? And if you're still debating this question, the default here would be on the local network, where the DHCP client is doing a DHCP Discover locally. So if that helps rule out any answers and you haven't completed your selection yet, hopefully that can help on the local subnet where the DHCP client is for these two answers. Fantastic. Layer 2 broadcast, Layer 3 broadcast on that initial DHCP Discover, and that is whether or not the broadcast bit is set to on in that Discover. We'll talk more about that in the Discord server if you have questions. I'm really happy to spend a few minutes this morning with you on these quizzes. Here's question number 9. Where is the DHCP relay configuration implemented on a Cisco device? All right. The actual configuration is implemented on the layer 3 interface of the device that's acting as the default gateway or some device on that local network. And so layer 3 switched virtual interface is the only example of a layer 3 interface where you configure the IP DHCP relay. All right. Here we go. Question 10 of 14, last 5 questions. Static IPs were not excluded from DHCP. What happens? All right. I mean, there's a lot of variables that could happen if the DHCP server hands out an IP address. But the point I wanted to drive a duplicate IP address that's already in use that it didn't find out about. But by default, a Cisco router or a Cisco device, if it's acting as a DHCP server, it'll go ahead and check before it hands out an IP address. It'll try to ping that device in attempts to see whether or not it's already out there like a static configuration somewhere. However, I see red. If it does hand out a duplicate IP address, both devices are going to try to use it. So this is kind of a toss-up. Thank you for, humoring me for that question. And here's question number 11. Cisco routers use the command IP address blank in interface configuration to become a DHCP client. We demonstrated this live yesterday as part of the office hour. Nailed it. That makes it a DHCP client IP address space DHCP. Perfect. And here's question number 12 of 14. Multiple select. What can cause an address conflict when using dynamic host configuration protocol? Please choose all the correct answers that apply. All right. Poor documentation, not knowing what IP address is already assigned or who's assigning what. Local firewalls, that's like on the PC or the server that won't respond to a ping in case there is a check by the DHCP server. The client doesn't respond, so it thinks it's not already assigned. And then if they're not doing a ping check. So red, yellow, and green are the correct answers there. VLAN 1, that doesn't really cause or not cause a conflict. And let's see how many we have left. 2 questions left, and then we'll wrap this up. What layer 4 protocol does DHCP use? This is a repeat. It's worded different, but it's the same question we had earlier, just worded slightly different. The faster you answer correctly, the more points you get. Beautifully done. At layer 4, it is indeed using user datagram protocol, or as its friends call it, UDP. And here is our final question. It is double points. DHCP is failing for a device in VLAN 55. The DHCP server is on switch 2. We're looking at the switch 1 output. What is needed? There's 90 seconds on the clock. Take your time. All right. And for questions about this question or any of the other quiz questions we had today, if you want to join me in the Discord server immediately following the stream, I'll be there for a period of a half hour or an hour up to however long it takes and be happy to answer those questions for you. Also, if you're not yet, I imagine that most people have a calendar of some sorts. And what I would encourage you to do is schedule time to join me. A lot of times people are asking, in fact, I've got a question in the queue from the Flying Scotsman asking for contact info. You can find me and talk directly with me in the office hour every Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific. So I realize that it's a different time zone for some people and maybe in the middle of the night for some, or maybe during other conflicts. But every Saturday you can find me in the office hour that's on my Discord server. There's a link in all my videos to it. So just set your calendar and that comes up as a reminder and join me. We always talk about something from the CCNA blueprint, whether it be IP addressing or subnetting or routing or OSPF or whatever it is. And we'd love to have you. The other thing I'd love you to have us join is every Sunday we have this quiz or a quiz on topics from the fundamentals of networking. And I firmly believe that mastering the fundamentals and keeping those fundamentals strong is going to serve you forever, as long as you're in the world of IT and networking, whether you're in a home network or a small business or a large enterprise network. The underlay, the infrastructure, and how IP works, that's not changing. Only thing that's changing a lot is overlays, like, what we're overlaying on top of it, like logical tunnels, whether they be IPsec or VXLANs and so forth. So the fundamentals are super important. They've served me forever. I'm 57. I'm still learning. But I can tell you this, understanding the fundamentals has helped me the entire time for the last 20 plus years working with networking. So again, thanks for being here. Schedule Saturdays, 10 a.m. for the office hour and Pacific time, and schedule Sundays at 11 a.m. for a quiz similar to this one. And I'd love to have you become part of the journey, or I'd love to be part of your journey as you're studying the fundamentals and getting better and better at them. All right, so having said that, let's go back to this screen and let's take a look at the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please. Zany Badger, you did it. Green Wallaby, you did it. Golden Possum, you did it. And everybody else within the sound of my voice who participated in this live game, you did it. You showed up. That's half the battle. Half the battle is showing up, and the rest of the battle is just keep on going. And no one's ever born where the doctor says, oh my goodness, this child is going to be a network engineer. Or this child's going to be an astronaut. It's all step by step working in the direction of where you want to be. And the harder you work, I've discovered, the luckier a person gets. Even though life is not fair, never has been, and it won't be, so I don't expect that. But the harder you work in the direction of your goals, consistently, just keep on plugging away. All right, so here's the toughest questions, only 4. These are all that we had 30% or less correct on. And so I'll use that as information for me to help identify where I might do additional videos and content. Also, I have a list of all the quizzes, well, not all of them, probably about 50 or so quizzes that we've done over the past couple of years in a playlist on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't already done so, do yourself a favor, click on subscribe to make it easier to find, and then just go to my playlist and just review those. Not to memorize the answers per se, but rather to play the quiz question, pause it, and then think to yourself, what is the answer? Why is it the answer? And if you're not sure, then you can identify that as a place you need to study a little bit more. And I think we cover, by this point, every module in the blueprint is all covered. All right. Also, I'd love to get some feedback from you, so go ahead and do that for me if you would. And once you give me that feedback, that also helps me in creating new quizzes and new content. And again, the quizzes online every Sunday are free. The office hour in Discord is free. The visit after this live stream is free. And my goal is to be part of your journey. If you want to review the fundamentals and get better at networking, or maybe you're just getting into networking, my goal is primarily to help you in that process and to make it affordable here on YouTube and do it free. Now, my full-time gig, I work for CBT Nuggets, and that's how I provide for my family through my full-time job at CBT Nuggets. And my YouTube platform here, including Discord, is all free. So I want to make sure that I'm providing some service that's valuable to all of you. All right, so let me go ahead and again say thanks for joining me. If you need to bow out at this time, I totally get it. And I'll catch you in the next live event. Again, schedule, if you can, the office hour every Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific, and then the quizzes every Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific. And I'll see you, my friend, in another event soon, maybe even Discord right now. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye.
What you're putting in, all your hopes and efforts are all in vain. Who will pick you up when you've lost everything?